morning, people at home, and good morning to you. We stick our hands up, we put our hands together, we put our hands in our lap, and we bow our head and close our eyes. Dear God, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for watching over each and every single one of us. Thank you for allowing us to be here, and thank you for safe travels to church, God. I pray that you just open all of our ears and hearts to hear what you want us to hear, God, and I pray that we just learn more about you. And God, I pray that we just take what we learned today and practice it all week to show other people that you love them and that we love them. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. So, now that we have our prayer out of the way, we will continue, and we are going to spend the next several weeks, and I'm talking 13 weeks. Wow, that's a long series. 13 weeks. We are learning about the Sermon on the Mount. Raise your hand if you have ever heard of the phrase Sermon on the Mount. You've heard of that phrase? You haven't? No. Just raise your hand, stretch it a little bit. I do that sometimes.
And my teacher always calls on me when I do that.
Yeah, she does. You're like, oh man. So, we're going to be learning about the Sermon on the Mount, and that's good that none of y'all know about it, because my job here would be pointless if y'all knew everything there was to know about the Sermon on the Mount. But since y'all don't know, yes sir?
I do read Bible.
You do read the Bible. Well, it is in the Bible, and it's in Matthew chapter 5. So for those of you at home, if you want to open up, we do have it. Well, we did have it up on the screen. It is Matthew chapter 5. We'll be reading there for the next several weeks. But the Sermon on the Mount. Let's break those three words up. Raise your hand if you know what the word sermon, S-E-R-M-O-N, sermon. What does sermon mean, Miss Tori? Anybody know what sermon is?
No.
This word right here. Sermon. Sermon. Y'all see it? Yes, sir.
I have a guess.
What's your guess?
Determined.
Determined. That's a good guess. Charles.
Does it mean a fish?
A fish? No. We're not learning about the fish on the
Salmon.
mount. That's a good point. You know, fish on the mount, deer on the mount, like mounted head, you know?
Yeah.
Good point. Well, sermon is when someone like a pastor or a evangelist preaches. So a sermon is me getting up here and preaching. I'm preaching to y'all. That is a sermon. Every Sunday, Brother Willis preaches a sermon. It's whenever a preacher gets in front of a crowd and teaches a lesson or a story. So now that y'all know what sermon means, Sermon on the Mount. This is what we're going to be learning about for the next 13 weeks. So it's very important that y'all know what this means. So there was a sermon on the Mount. Based off of what is on our podium today, raise your hand if you think you can tell me what a mount is. A mountain. It's like a big hill. So we're going to be learning about a sermon that was taught on top of a mountain. So when y'all hear the word Sermon on the Mount, you will know that that's what it was talking about. And the Sermon on the Mount is a very, very, very famous sermon. It's a very famous, you hear it all the time, and it's in the Bible, and it was when Jesus got on top of a mountain and preached to many people. And he taught lots of cool things, and we're going to be digging into that for the next 13 weeks. And each week, we are going to add something to our mountain, because this is what we're going to be learning about, the Sermon on the Mount. So we're going to be learning about what Jesus did and what Jesus taught about when he was teaching on the mountain. So when you hear Sermon on the Mount, now you know what we're talking about. But today we're going to be digging into the part that teaches us that God blesses those who struggle. Dun, dun, dun. Raise your hand if you have ever struggled with anything. What's something that you've struggled with?
I have
Very good. What's something you struggle with?
Depression.
Depression, very good. Yes, ma'am. What's something you've struggled with?
I struggle about picking up.
Picking up. That is very hard. It is a struggle to have to clean your room. Yes, sir. You have something to struggle? No? Well, there's all kind of things, and we can talk about it later. There's all kind of things that every single one of us, whether we're here or at home, we struggle with. Even me and Miss Tori, there's lots of things. Depression, anxiety, sadness, happiness, loneliness. All these things they can be a struggle on us. Or stuff like picking up our room, obeying our parents, riding a bike for the first time. There's all kind of things that we're going to go through in life that will be a struggle. So let me ask you, I got a question for you. Which one of these three things, and remember, raise your hand, would you find the hardest to do? You ready?
Yeah.
I haven't even told you anything yet. Oh, just stretch it again.
No.
So which one of these three things would you find the hardest to do? A, fly an airplane, like you get in the cockpit and you fly that joker, big airplane the size of this church, by yourself. You just jump in there and fly it. All right, that one, build a house by yourself. Just, walk up and start hammering nails and build a house. Or 3, do your own taxes. Don't even know what taxes are. So
I do.
taxes, so that's like
It's like whenever.
So raise your hand and tell me which one of those 3 things would be the hardest.
Building a house.
Building a house. Why do you say building a house would be harder than flying an airplane?
Because it still takes like weeks for a ton of people to build it, so it would take me like a century.
A second. Yes, ma'am. Flying an airplane. Why would flying an airplane be harder than any of those other things?
Taxes are easy, you just gotta pay money, and then building a house, it can be any size.
Right. I mean, I didn't say how big of a house. We could have been talking about like building a house with Legos. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Yes, ma'am.
I have to say
Flying an airplane. What about you?
You ever live in a Lego place?
I've never lived in a Lego place. Have you ever lived in a Lego place?
I have.
No. All right, one more. Lily, which one do you think would be the hardest? Flying an airplane. I think flying an airplane. See, I work in the construction field, so I see houses getting built every day. Would the house be beautiful and livable, or it ain't safe to live in if I built it? Probably not. But I think it would probably be easiest for me to build a house. I could probably do my taxes. I've, done them a couple times. But flying an airplane, I have never been able to fly an airplane. I've never been inside of an airplane trying to fly it. So I probably couldn't fly an airplane. Yes, sir.
And also, if you're flying an airplane by yourself, you don't even know how to
Like with the
There's like a
pilot-
billion buttons and you're just like, what am I doing? So I would say that. So let's continue. Learning new things can be a struggle. Like you said, riding a bike, learning to build a house, learning to fly an airplane. It would be pretty nice if we could just know how to do everything, huh? Like just walk into an airplane, never been in an airplane before, and be like, oh, I know what this switch does, I know what this switch does, I know where this button does, I know where that button does, and just take off and fly an airplane. Or as soon as we were born, be like, oh, I know how to ride a bike, just jump on the bike, throw the safety wheels, or what are they called? Training wheels, throw them off, and just take off. Take off 100 miles an hour when you're 3 years old, ride a bicycle. It would be nice to never have to struggle learning different things because life would be easy. I mean, there's nothing, teacher, I know what 37 million times 37 million is. I know what 3 billion times 3 billion is. Everything would be just easy. But it's important for us to realize that we need to struggle to grow. When we struggle, we grow. When we struggle trying to learn how to ride a bike, guess what? It's hard at the beginning, but at the end, what can we do? Ride a bike. So things that we struggle with and things that we practice at, when we finally learn how to do it, it's lots of fun. Yes, sir.
like butterflies, that whenever they're in the cocoon, that the
struggle for their wings to build so they're strong enough to fly.
That's right.
And if they didn't already know how to fly, they would just die because they couldn't fly and they wouldn't be strong enough.
They want to be strong enough to fly. That's exactly right. God has a plan for each and every single one of our lives, and it's important that we struggle to learn certain things. Because when you struggle, you grow and you learn more things. And hard struggles in our lives can help us see God's true blessings, because God blesses those who struggle. Plus, He blesses us with the true book that He has given us. And raise your hand if you can tell me what that book is called. The Bible. That's right. He gave us the Bible to use, and He blesses us, and He gives us the ability to read the Bible and learn more about Him. But since we're learning today that God blesses those who struggle, what we're going to do is we're going to put a frowny face. Each one of you are going to come up here and put a frowny face on the screen. So now that we have our frowny faces on the screen, we can continue on, because we are learning, like I've already said, that God blesses those who struggle. So even when we're sad and struggling, God blesses us and He is there for us. So today we're going to sing a song that teaches us that God can do anything. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that God can do anything? Because guess what? He's God. How'd y'all know? Y'all so smart. So I want everybody to stand up. I want to hear everybody sing along.
My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do.
I want to hear y'all sing.
My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. My God is so big and so strong and so mighty. There's nothing my God cannot do. In the beginning, God made everything. God simply spoke and the world came to be. He sent the flood.
So now that we know there's nothing our God cannot do, we can understand that He brings us joy and He blesses us when we are struggling. So today we're learning that God blesses those who struggle, which is a pretty cool thing. You know, life has its share of struggles. We've talked about some things that we've struggled with in our life, but it also has its share of happy times. So what we have right here, Miss Tori's going to pass out, is a ups and downs handout, and each group, some of you have 2, some of you have 1, some of you have 3, some of you have 1, and some of you have 2. Miss Tori's going to pass out, there's 12 individual squares. And what Mr. Grandman is going to do for those of you at home is he's going to put up these 12 individual squares on the screen right now. To where you can't see me, all you see is these 12 individual squares. So, Mr. Grandman, like I said, Mr. Grandman is going to put up a list of these things, and I want you to get a blank piece of paper, and I want you to write down in order these things that you would consider to be from happiest to saddest. So pause the video on this list, and I want you to write down the things that would make you from the happiest to saddest. Now that y'all are back and y'all have y'all's list of my ups and downs, you know, there was, you get a new puppy, you move to a new state, your grandma gives you $50. That'd be pretty great, huh? I would love it if my grandma gave me $50. Grandma, if you're watching this, I would love $50. You get a D on the test, that's kind of not too good. You get grounded, you break your arm, YouTube channel has 1 million views. That would be amazing. Listen, hey guys, remember we're not talking. Your best friend's parents are getting divorced. That means that they're breaking up. That would be sad. I'd be sad for my best friend. You win a class election. You are now the class president. Woo! Don't seem too happy about that. You lose the election. Not the class president. Lily's the class president. I wanted to be the class president, but Lily took it from me. You want to be very good. Your soccer team wins the championship. Woo! Y'all aren't very excited about that either. You stub your toe. Has anybody ever stubbed your toe?
That's fun.
That's not fun. So everybody has a different list. Raise your hand if you can tell me what your first 2 things on your list are. Yes, sir.
You win class election, your grandma gives you $50.
$50. All right, what'd y'all put?
You have to move to a new state and you lose a class election.
You lose. So y'all did low. Okay. So what's at the bottom of the last 2 things of your list?
Your grandma gives you $50.
Okay.
You win a class election.
You win a class election. So that's the same thing you had, right? What about you, Lily? What'd you put as the happiest thing on that list? You get a new puppy.
And you win a class election.
New puppy and class election. Lily would love a new puppy and to be the class president. Yes, ma'am.
You get a new puppy, and grandma gives you $50.
Say the first one again.
You get a new puppy.
You get a new puppy, so you're just like Lily, you really want a new puppy. All right, last one. What'd y'all put as y'all's happiest 2 moments?
You get a new puppy and your YouTube channel hits 1 million views.
That would probably,
That's already
because
happened.
listen, you probably would get more than $50 if you had 1 million views on YouTube. That'd be pretty cool. So everybody in here kind of has the same couple. There's some, you get a new puppy would be great. Your grandma giving you $50 would be great. YouTube channel hitting $1 million would be great. Winning class election, winning the soccer championship, all those things are great. But we also have a list of sad things, like you stubbing your toe, or you losing the class election because people like Lily more than me, or you breaking your arm. There's a whole list of sad situations that we put, and everybody pretty much put the same but different things for what applies most for their life. And how did you decide how to rank these situations? Yes, sir.
Well, for my happiest 2 moments, I actually did. You get a new puppy and you lose a class election.
You don't want to be the class
No,
president?
because I would be really happy for the person who does it.
There you go. You can be happy for the person that did it. So what, we may not have to put everything in the exact same order. Some people may feel different about other things, and that's okay. And I can see it seemed that we all agree on which things were happy and which things were sad, but we often say that we are blessed when these happy things happen. Has anybody ever heard their mom say, "Oh my goodness, we are just so blessed"? Or everybody ever heard their dad say, "We're blessed," or your cousin say, "You're blessed," or everybody's probably heard it, but if you haven't, what they're saying is like when they get a new house, or whenever they realize that their friends are there to take care of them, or whenever they get good medical news, or whenever they get a new job, they might say, or when they get a new baby like Sophie's family, they can say, "Oh, we're so blessed," because it means that they're getting things that make them happy. So when we're blessed, we are happy. So, but we're about to see how God blesses those who struggle. So even on the bottom of the list, I stubbed my toe, I broke my arm, I lose class election, all those other things, we're going to see how God blesses us during those times. So, Mr. Bam Bam is going to put up a list of the Jesus ups and downs for y'all to look at. And I want you to do the same thing. On that same piece of paper, I want you to write from happiest to saddest. I'm going to explain a couple of these words for y'all because some of them may be hard. First one is you are poor. That means you have no money. The second one is you mourn. That means you are crying, you're sad. The next one says you are humble, not proud. That means that you're not jealous of somebody. That means that you're not like, "Oh, I wish that I was him," or anything like that. Or you're not proud of yourself saying, "I'm the best Xbox player in the world." The next one says you hunger and thirst for justice. That means that you want the best for a situation. That means if somebody steals a pencil in the classroom, you want to make sure that that person gets caught and that they get a detention and they get what they deserve. You want to do what's right. The next one says you show mercy instead of taking revenge. That means if someone slaps you in the face, instead of slapping them back in the face, you say, "Hey, look, it's okay. I forgive you for slapping me in the face." The next one says you have a pure heart. That means that you have a happy heart. You're happy for others. You love other people and you want the best for everybody else. The next one says you work for peace. That means you don't want a fight. If two people in your classroom are saying, "No, I want the piece of candy. No, I want the piece of candy. No, I want the piece of candy," you're the kind of person that says, "Look, we can take the candy and break it in half and you get a piece of candy and you get a piece of candy." Hold on, one quick. We're almost done. The next one says you're bullied for doing what's right. That doesn't sound very happy. That means that you are picked on. People are saying, "Heh heh, Christians are goody good. Christians are goody
I don't
good."
care.
You won't care, yeah. Neither. And then you are teased for loving Jesus. That means someone is making. So most of these things that were our second list are things that Jesus talks about in the Sermon on the Mount. And most of these things aren't happy things. Most of these things or some of these things we can choose to do, like being pure in heart or working for peace, or like, what was the one that you were telling me about? Being bullied for doing what's right. Most of those things aren't happy things. But even those that aren't things, that the world around us always values. Just like you were saying, everybody always says, "Ha ha, you're a tattletale," but you are doing the right thing. But let's see what Jesus had to say about these situations and how God blesses those who struggle. Matthew chapter 5, verse 3 through 12. It says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for their kingdom of heaven is theirs." So it's saying right here, the people that don't have money, the people that are poor here on earth, and they don't have the new Nintendo Switches, and they don't have the brand new Xboxes and all these great things, It's okay because God will bless you in heaven with the best of the best. The next one says, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. That's meaning Jesus is going to bless people who are sad, who are crying, and Jesus will comfort them. He will be there for them. The next one says, blessed are the humble. Humble means that if you're really good at something, instead of standing up and beating your chest saying, my name's Lily, and I'm the class president, and I'm the best class president in the world. That's not being humble. Being humble means, oh yes, I think that I'm doing pretty good with my job, and I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for voting me in to being the class president. You know, it's being considered, not being, woo, look at me, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. That's being humble. So the next says, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. That means that you strive to learn more about God. When you really, really want to learn more about God, he's saying that you will be healed. You will be filled with knowledge and wisdom about Jesus when you ask for it, when you thrive for it. And then the next one says, blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. So that means that if someone slaps Christian in the face, instead of Christian running and slapping them in the face, he's saying, it's okay, buddy. Give me a hug. You want to be my...
Just dodge it.
You might just dodge it. But being merciful is saying that you just want to forgive and not be an attacking. Hold on, Christian. So it's saying, blessed are those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are those pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness, for the kingdom of heaven is theirs. And you are blessed when they insult you and persecute you, or falsely say evil kind of things against you because of me. Be glad and rejoice, because your reward is in heaven. For that is how they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So it's saying right here in Matthew verse 11 and 12, it's saying that it's okay when you're picked on and said, you're a tattletale, or you're a Jesus freak, or you're a Bible reader, or when you're picked and made fun of, it's saying that God will bless you greatly in heaven for doing what is right. So just because some of these things seem sad, we can read Matthew 5, verse 3 through 12 and learn that we are blessed through these hard times. So everything on this list that I gave y'all today, we can learn that we will be blessed through this. We've spent lots of time ranking happier and sadder, but in Jesus' mind, there is no ranking. No one of these situations has more or less of blessings in mind, because God is the same in every single one of these situations. A lot of these things Jesus promised were future blessings, but no matter what's going on, in good times or bad times, God's blessings are true, and God blesses those who struggle. Just like every single one of these things on this paper. Yes, sir. You have a question?
I'm blessed. Most of us are blessed that our parents actually love us and they don't give us everything we want.
That's correct. You're exactly right.
So that we can learn to earn it.
So we can learn to earn things. So Jesus' way seems upside down, like, why would I want to be sad? Or why would I want to struggle? Or why would I want to do this whenever everything can just be handed to me? But most people wouldn't consider struggles a good thing, but God blesses those who struggle. And by shifting our perspective and looking at it in a different angle, we can see things His way. Just like you said, some parents give their kids everything that they want, and they don't have to work for it, and they become spoiled. But our parents love us, and they don't want us to be spoiled, so they don't give us everything. They make us work hard for what we got, and we can become more joyful and thankful for those things when we finally get them. And no matter what's going on in our lives, we can remember that God is there for us through the struggle, and He blesses us when we struggle. Just like Matthew 3 through 12 says. And it's very important that y'all can remember that the Sermon on the Mount is called the Beatitudes. It's talking about blessings. The whole thing is blessed are the poor, Blessed are those who are sad. Blessed are those who are humble. Blessed are those who hunger. Blessed are the merciful. Blessed are the pure in heart. It's blessings on blessings on blessings. And Jesus is saying that he is there for us no matter where we're at in life or no matter what we're going through. He wants to bless us. So like I said, we're going to be digging through for the next 13 weeks. We're going to be digging through these Beatitudes in the Sermon on the Mount and kind of figuring out what each blessing means. But now we can learn, this week we're starting out learning that God blesses those who struggle. So everybody, let's put our hands up. Hands together. Hands in your lap. Bow your head and close your eyes. Dear God, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for allowing each and every single one of us to be here, God. God, I pray that you just help every single one of us understand that even when we're struggling, you are still there and you are still going to bless us and you still love us, God. It doesn't matter how long it takes us to find or see these blessings. We know that your word is true and it says when we struggle, you will bless us. So God, I pray that you just help every single one of us in here realize that in the struggles to keep our eyes focused on you, knowing that you are there to be there for us. Lord, I pray that you just help every single one of us this week have a great week at school. God, I pray that you just help us have fun. And God, I pray that you just help these kids be able to come back on Wednesday night to dig deeper into the Sermon on the Mount. Lord, we love you. We thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Hey guys, remember to tell y'all's parents that every single Wednesday night we come in here at 7 o'clock. Can y'all say 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
We come in here at 7 o'clock to have lots of fun, to dig deeper into the Bible story.